This console generation has been absolutely fascinating because not only are these consoles more expensive than they've ever been with basically the least amount of things to offer you in return. Like apparently we're taking disk drives off the table now and still pricing the thing upwards, which is usually not how features work. Usually you price your console higher when there's more features, but apparently we disagree nowadays. Sony's still pricing their base PS5 basically the same it's been since day one, and that's assuming you even got it at launch price on day one. But now here we are with the PS5 Pro. The review embargo dropped yesterday. I guess today, the time that I'm recording this on November 6th. The thing comes out today. 700 smackaroos, plus extra if you want to play online, plus extra if you want a disk drive, plus extra if you want the stand. And that's assuming you're buying this thing in a region where it is $700, because it's much more than $700 in other regions, or at least the equivalent of $700. And what do you get in return? Oh, you get more 30 and 60 FPS caps. Gee willikers, I sure am glad we're still capping games at 30 frames per second. Oh, but Joe, it looks really pretty. I'm sorry, we've been hearing 4K 60 for like 10 years at this point. I'm not even exaggerating. It's been close to 10 years since they've been selling you on 4K, and now for $700 in 2024, you're getting 30 FPS caps for true 4K. How is it possible for them to keep fucking you this hard? But I've made my opinions on the PS5 Pro very clear in several other videos. Today's videos are dedicated to the people who saw the early reviews when the review embargo dropped on November 6th and lost their collective minds because apparently it is just unfathomable that the PS5 Pro would have some problems. The people who couldn't even spend $700 on the thing yet, they hadn't even put the system in your hands yet, you are now going to bat for Sony based on early reviews of a thing that you have not experienced. Oh, but Joe, you're criticizing the thing before you have it. There's a big difference between me pointing at something and being like, hey, that's really stupid, and you looking at an objectively stupid, objectively taking advantage of the consumer thing and being like, man, that's the best thing ever. Those are two very different things. I don't want to hear it. GameSpot posted their review and said, powerful on paper, ordinary in action. They get a response from at 12 teraflops at 30 FPS. Says, good job, GameSpot. You just couldn't help yourself from saying something so stupid instead of saying what I assume was supposed to be something controversial. This is why you're the laughingstock of the gaming media. Ordinary in action. And then they have a screenshot of Spider-Man 2 with some fancy filters and graphic effects, because that's really all that matters to you people. That really is the thing that bugs me the most. It truly just is about visuals to you people. Not even visuals and gameplay or visuals and performance. It's just visuals. That's why you're so vehemently going up to bat for 30 FPS caps on a $700 machine. Spider-Man 2 was not getting any DLC because Sony can't manage their budgets, because Sony is obsessed with graphics over gameplay. And now here they are giving you more graphics over gameplay, and you're like, man, how dare people criticize this? You literally are getting less gameplay than you otherwise would have because of the obsession with graphics. But by all means, let's keep defending the obsession with graphics. That is the best thing for the gaming industry. GamesRadar posted their review and said, our PS5 Pro review is here. They gave it a 3.5 out of 5. Their description being, the PS5 Pro only suits its price tag in niche circumstances, but it does deliver on its promise to improve both graphics and frame rates. That $700 MSRP is still difficult to justify, particularly for those using a standard living room setup with a 50 to 65 inch TV. Those using a large display or a monitor are going to feel the benefits more keenly, especially if you have the funds to stay at the cutting edge of tech. I think that's a very fair thing to say. But then they get a response from Jumbo Relic who says it's a 3.5 out of 5 because people are poor. L take. No, it's a 3.5 out of 5 because it is a very expensive buy over the thing that already exists, and you're only going to notice the difference in niche circumstances. This is not hard to understand. And I don't even feel like this is that different from what Sony has told you to expect from it. People aren't poor because they don't want to spend $700 on a console that is a slight improvement over the $500 console. You're not poor for that. You're just a person who actually buys their own things and doesn't just put things on Christmas wish lists for mommy and daddy. Sekiro29 responds to the review and says, it is the best console and the technology works perfectly, but the only criticism is the high price. Then how can it be a 3.5 out of 5? A 4.5 definitely makes more sense. Oh my god, the technology works perfectly. That is the problem. The technology is working as intended, but it's not good enough for the price tag. This is not hard to understand. Guys, the technology works perfectly. Yeah, I don't care if it's priced too high. The technology was designed to target certain performance. That certain performance is not worth the asking price of the console. Everything is working as intended, and that is the problem. Sony is spitting on you, and you're just taking a shower in it. Squelgore the Great says, bit of a return take. You're supposed to be judging the actual product, not the price tag, you fucking bellends. Today I learned that the price tag of a product can't possibly impact how you feel about the product or whether or not you buy it. Are you fucking kidding me? If something is worth $5, but it's priced at $20, that's going to impact the review of the product as a whole, because the product as a whole is priced too high. When I put $20 down, I expect something worth $20. But if you're giving me something that's only worth $5 and demanding $20, that is a problem with the product. The product's distribution is part of the product. By this logic, it is literally impossible for something to be overpriced. Do you realize what you're saying here? You are suggesting that we cannot criticize price tags of products because the price tag of the product is not part of the product. It has nothing to do with the product and whether or not it's worth it. The price tag dictates the product's value. The value of the product, or what you're getting in return for your money, plays a big part in whether or not people are okay with the product in the first place. So yes, we should be taking the price tag into account with the product because, again, if we can't take the price tag into account with the product, by your logic, nothing can be overpriced ever. And that's fucking dumb. Hello, I'm interrupting this video to remind you that this channel is sponsored by 4D Gaming. If you would like a really nice mousepad, go to 4dgaming.com and use code Joe for a discount. This channel is also sponsored by Glitch Energy. It's basically G Fuel, but better, so go to Glitch Energy and use code Joe for a discount. Thank you for letting me interrupt your content. I'll let you keep watching it now. I quote tweeted PC Gamer's review. PC Gamer said, the PS5 Pro lets console players enjoy what PC players have had for years. High frame rates without the downsides. And I quote tweeted and said, we had 60 FPS on the GameCube, by the way, because I'm still just absolutely dumbfounded that the base PS5 was supposed to give you 60 FPS or even 120 FPS, and then here comes the $700 PS5 Pro giving you 60 FPS sometimes. That amazes me. 60 FPS was basically standard on the GameCube. That was 23 years ago that it came out. But then I get a response from someone named AbaliXD who says, are you comparing the graphics of back then to today's? How smart. No, I'm comparing the gameplay standards and the gameplay priorities of back then to today. Can you fucking read? Are you capable of understanding subtext? You're paying $700 for an improved version of a console that already promised you the thing the $700 console is now promising. I literally said 60 FPS in this tweet, and you started talking about graphics. And then you say, oh, how smart. How smart? I'm the one that can read. Spoofy also responds to me and says, and if you dumb down today's game size and fidelity, we would be playing 120 FPS on all titles. Do you have a real point to make or no? I'm sorry, are you suggesting that game size is the reason why we're not getting 60 FPS today? Is that actually the argument you're making? Because I can name a million games that have come out in the last 2 years that would disagree with you, but also because you can't fucking read this apparently either, I'm not talking about game size and fidelity. I'm talking about frame rate, and the obvious implication is that priorities have shifted. Game developers now care more about graphics and screenshots than how the video game actually plays, how smooth it controls, how responsive it is, because all of those things are tied to frame rate. The whole thing that sets video games apart from other mediums is their control. And the ultimate irony of what you're saying here is that you're saying I need to dumb down today's game size and fidelity. I need to dumb down the game size to get better frame rates. Are you suggesting that games of today are more complex or more intricately designed than older games that ran at higher frame rates? Is that actually the point you're trying to make right now? Because if that is your point, then I would like to welcome you to the hobby of video games, because you clearly only got here like 6 months ago. How about IGN's review? IGN gave the thing a 7 out of 10. Then they got quote tweeted by Francisco Ledesma, who says it's totally worth it. You'll be able to play all those PS4 games in higher fidelity. Sony always wins, baby. Higher fidelity, not frame rates. Most of the PS4 games that are getting PS5 Pro boosts are getting fidelity boosts, not frame rate boosts. Again, priorities. They're wrong. I also loved all the people who were spreading around Bloodborne PS5 Pro screenshots a few days ago, as if Bloodborne isn't being emulated at 60 plus on the PC right now at no additional cost to you. Like, this is always what blows my mind. This is always what blows my mind. The fans will mod something into a game, and then the publishers of that game will try to sell you an inferior version of what the fans did for free, and people praise the publisher. It's like the fans did this at no cost, and they want you to pay for an inferior version? How fucking little do they respect you? Gizaz says, the technologically greatest console in history at the most competitive price possible for anything in its weight class, and it gets the patented IGN 7. Yeah, you can build a powerfully equivalent PC for less than $700. Like, I hate to break it to you, you can do that. Also, are we really trying to say this is the most competitive price possible for the company that refuses to drop the price of the original console, the base console? They've been raising the price of that, and you're saying this is a competitive price? Are you joking? Have you not been paying attention? Like, what universe am I in right now? At this point, just give them your money. At this point, just give them your bank account. Like, nothing they do you're ever going to criticize. You're going to buy anything with the logo on it. Just fucking give them your credit card at this point. Jesus Christ. Hanley Games says, really? A 7 just for the price? The strongest console on the market and it's a 7? Y'all, come on. Yes, as I explained earlier, the price is part of whether or not the product is worth the investment. It is possible for something to be priced too high. Did you know that? Did you know it's possible for the price to be too high on something? Did you know it's possible for something to be priced above what it's worth? It's like, I swear, it's like you don't realize that you are arguing right now that nothing can be overpriced. Which, if that's the argument you're making, I better never hear you guys talk about how PC gaming is too expensive. I love that you people are losing your minds over the fact that the price tag is being criticized, but these are the same people saying it's a good alternative to PC gaming because PC gaming is too expensive. Like, what? One more. Streets of Gage Pro says, a 7? Oh no, I better cancel my pre-order. Lamau, psych, I'll be playing on the best console ever made tomorrow. It's the best console ever made because of the performance and no other reason. The specs, no other reason. The games doesn't matter. Game pricing doesn't matter. Online paywalling doesn't matter. Peripheral pricing doesn't matter. It's the best console ever made because it's a slightly buffed version of a console that already exists and has no games. Oh, this is actually the dumbest thing ever. I got a little worked up this time because I just cannot believe that people are actually excited for this. Actually, that's not fair. It's not that I can't believe people are excited. I can understand being excited, but what I can't understand is getting legitimately upset when people criticize an obvious point of criticism, that being a $700 price tag. On top of everything else Sony throws at you with these things, like the expensive ass controllers, the required expensive ass online membership, the expensive ass games, the lack of true backwards compatibility, the lack of respect for your history by getting rid of the disk drive. But no, you guys just lap it up, lap it all up, slurp it right out of the bowl. I will be over here playing on my PC where everything is nice and cozy and I don't have to pay $70 for every new game. and $60-something a year to play my own games online. And if I want to get better performance, I can just click on the settings menu, make some graphical adjustments, just get the performance that I want, not have to buy a whole new machine to get the performance that I'm happy with, because I'm not obsessed with lifelike graphics at the cost of gameplay performance in a video game. Jeez, toodles.